Now, Sports Talk with Brodes. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. I want to dive back to that Utah Jazz game against the Sixers and just talk about it more as we enter this All-Star break, which sucks because I want more basketball. I want to see this team continue to play, especially after such an emotional win. I wish they could have taken that feeling, applied it to a nice stretch, but unfortunately, they will be put on pause for quite some time until next week. What am I supposed to do for a full week without Sixers basketball? I gotcha. I know there's Flyers in play and there's Philly spring training. And there's a lot of you that have been reaching out to me, asking me when there will be some Phillies content out. Trust me, real soon, I'm talking this weekend, we will start to dive heavily into this baseball team. And if you're into the Phils as much as I am, and even if you just want to keep up to date, go follow me on Twitter at Brodes81. I've been pumping out some awesome content, utilizing some visuals as well, so just something to look at. But that's irrelevant to what we're going to discuss today, of course, and that is the 76ers beatdown. Joel Embiid destroying Rudy Gobert, and I think it's so funny that the All-Star game played out the way that it did with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. I can't believe they actually sat up to the podium, or I guess they went on a webcam and looked at the Zoom conference call and decided to bitch the way that they did about, oh, I'm a small market team, and because of that, it's so frustrating, and oh, we always lose because the refs. We won the game. In my eyes, we won the game. What are you talking about? You got your asses kicked late. You got annihilated. Don't allow Dwight Howard to be the intimidating force that he was on both ends of the floor. Don't allow the Sixers to make a run late. Don't allow them to do it. You allow them to do it. It's ridiculous. Oh, and here comes the report. There were some missed calls. Welcome to the NBA, dude. Do you think that there were none against you? It's not just one-sided here. This is the NBA. There's horrendous calls on both sides of the floor. So there were plenty of chances with your 6,000 shots in the game and you going to the free throw line and your teammates maybe going to the free throw line where it was an egregious call as well. To act as if, oh, well, we're in Utah. Nobody wants us to win. No one wants us to succeed. So the refs are going to start calling all of these bad calls against us. Grow up. What a disgrace. Don't allow Embiid to drop 40 and grab 19 on the Defensive Player of the Year. Don't get clamped by Ben Simmons. And I praised the living hell out of Ben Simmons after that fourth quarter clamping. It was unreal. The fact that Donovan Mitchell could not breathe. But Joel Embiid, I don't think, now going back and listening to that pure emotion after the game was over the night of, I was so excited about what Ben did on Donovan that I don't think I really gave Joel Embiid enough love for his defense as well. Because he was bringing it, he was rim protecting, stud, flat out stud. And it's tremendous that we get to witness his fantastic play every single night. I dream about it. I dream of Joel Embiid hitting a big shot and hearing, Joel Embiid, he's raising the arms. The Wells Fargo Center gets going crazy. That's what I need in my life. I do. And soon we actually will be getting that. That's right. Fans in the stands is going to impact this so much. I hate to dive right back into baseball, but hearing fans in spring training when there's a home run, it intensifies what we're watching. And I can only imagine that when we start consistently hearing these fans back into the arenas at the Wells Fargo Center, when, let's say, Seth Curry ends up knocking down 2 big threes in a row and the opposing team has to call a timeout, well then, even though it's a couple thousand, you're going to hear that rise and the fans bring in that juice. Keep in mind, too, it's indoors, so maybe that even brings it to another level, right? Because it's indoors. So maybe a couple thousand doesn't seem like too much, but when you hear it and the alternative is 0 people, it changes things for sure. So one of the big ideas for today is to get to some of those anytime hotline calls that were called in the night of. and utilize them because we have a bunch. But at the end of the post-game show, there was a caller about Ben Simmons. And I didn't know how to react because I was so shocked in the moment that someone decided to call on that night and freak out about Ben. So I'm going to replay it. We are going to discuss it, and then we're going to take a bunch more anytime hotline calls and just kind of keep the Sixers convo going.
What a great win by the Sixers tonight. However, with that said, I still don't see the hype with Ben Simmons. When you look over his stats in the last 4 years, they're basically the same for his rebound, assists, and points. I just want him to get an elbow jumper. That would open up his game so much, and it's just embarrassing as an NBA player. He has made no progress in 4 years to get an elbow jumper. He went scoreless since the third quarter, and defense was pretty well, but I just want him to get better with a jumper to really make them a contender.
The defense was pretty well? No. The defense was elite. The defense was the best defense you can ever play. The defense was game-changing. The defense helped you win the basketball game. How is that not noticeable to you? Now, keep in mind, this is coming from someone that ripped Ben all beginning of the season long and did not like what he brought to the table. And I have actually ripped him in the past for having 20 points at the third quarter mark, and then here comes the fourth, and he had one free throw. That was his finishing fourth quarter, one free throw. So I have been on that page before, so I've acknowledged that, but I don't go to the extreme of the elbow jumper thing. After a performance against the Jazz, I don't know how everything that happened in that game goes unnoticed, and you feel the need to call in about an elbow jumper. See, I think it's fair and very reasonable to ask more out of Ben offensively, but you've been getting that. If you've watched this team in February and now we're bleeding into March, there should be no argument with Ben Simmons when you take a step back. There's moments and there's situations here and there. He's not a finished product yet, and we all understand that. So there are things that you can discuss, and I bring that up, and I question things. But I'm truly blown away that when he shuts down Donovan Mitchell to an insane level, and he does give you good offense throughout the entire game. I thought Ben had a good aggressive game there. When Embiid gives you 40 and 19, when Tobias takes advantage of mismatches and goes into the post in overtime and continues to get easy looks for him that he was knocking down, that you feel the need to call in and bitch about Ben Simmons and the lack of an elbow jumper. That's where I'm having the problem. So it's not so much criticizing Ben's offensive game. I've done that. I've done that a lot. And I still think that it could be a downfall of this team right now. But I'm also acknowledging that there are parts of his game that get better, that have gotten better. The post-up game, absolutely better. Utilizing that hook shot, absolutely better. Quickness from backing down. When you are in the block, and you're on the block, and you're getting the basketball, and now you're making a decision with your speed, with your acceleration, with your explosiveness, that has gotten better. All of these things have gotten better. Stat sheets might not tell the full story. So if you just want to apply it to what the stat sheet says, well, then you might not see that kind of stuff. But that's when studying the game, knowledge of the game, breaking down film, going back and watching, looking at just Ben Simmons' possessions. I record the games and I'll go back and watch certain areas. I'll go back and see, all right, what did they do down the 5-minute stretch? What did they do from the 10-minute mark in the fourth quarter? What did they do for the last 2 minutes specifically? Okay, they're going to Ben here. All right, Ben's in the post. What is Ben going to do? I study that stuff. So when you go back and do it, it adds another perspective on it because it's sort of like watching the All-22 tape. When you watch the game on Sunday, the Eagles game, what happens? Well, you watch it, you react. Then by Wednesday, here's the All-22, and now you're diving deeper into specific positions and you're studying what went down. Well, Ben Simmons, I've seen little things here and there throughout his game that matter a lot offensively. And look, I'm fully aware that I cracked early in the season. This is the Ben that I fell in love with. This is the Ben that I support. This is the Ben that is incredible. Not about the elbow jumper. It's about the aggressive mindset. The one question will always be out there. Will Ben Simmons work in the playoffs due to where he has to be on the court without any sort of three-point shooting or spacing ability. And that's fine. That's fine. But I'm irritated that I got that phone call after such an explosive win and such a team character win. Something that can really help form an identity of the team. Not every win in the regular season is insanely impactful. Some are just one of many. Just another one of those games you just handle business, or you just win a game, or you just lose a game. Some games have no power to it. That was such a powerful game. That was such an exciting game. That was such a memorable game this season. This was a staple type win. And it can really help make your team come together. You faced adversity. You battled adversity. You went to war for one another, and you came out on top. And you stayed true to yourselves, and you battled. It's not easy to be down against the best team in the Western Conference, who, by the way, shot 21 of 44 from three. You're not going to face many teams. See, as much as, because I question, you can't go to the all-bench lineup. Well, why can't you go to the all-bench lineup? Because I can't rely on Dwight Howard to give you that burst constantly. And if he doesn't give you that burst, I don't think you're making that comeback. I think what you saw in the second quarter, where the bench fell apart and this bench would get outscored and it allowed Utah to crack into this nice window and a lead, that is what you're going to get more times than not. So I can't rely on that. Well, can you rely on the Utah Jazz to knock down 21 of 44? Probably not. If I was a betting man, though, and had to choose one or the other, I would imagine that would happen. The three-point shooting would happen by Utah more times than Dwight Howard's explosive big-time play of hitting a three, blocking a shot, getting to the free throw line. Right? I'll take my odds and chances on Utah drilling their shots because they've done it all season long. Not to this crazy level, but to a crazy level, sure. But is that going to happen? Probably not. And if that doesn't happen, well, it's a closer game. But it is crazy to think that they were involved. That's 1 in a million to get outshot like that by the three-point line and still embrace a victory. I couldn't believe it. Every time I looked at the clock and every time I looked at the scoreboard, I was so confused. How is this a three-point game? In what world? It's a three-point game? And Mike Scott ends up hitting a three for them to take the lead. Mike Scott! Huh? And speaking of Mike Scott as the stretch forward position, it does seem like there are some rumors going around town that PJ Tucker and the Sixers might be having something going on. That might be one of the moves that Daryl Morey makes. And that is absolutely fantastic. And that's one of the names that, we kind of have been discussing. Just to put it into context here, I'll look up PJ Tucker's stats. And going for the old one-finger keyboard typing over here like the old people do. The finger point as they jab on each of the keys. All right, so PJ Tucker right now is shooting... not great from three, to be honest with you. 31%. Last year it was 36. The year before, 38. He has historically been a way better shooter than this, but 314 is an ugly-looking number. And maybe that changes, though. You play with Ben Simmons. You play with Joel Embiid. It's totally different, right? You're not playing with the same players. You have the better spacing. And right now he's also playing 30 minutes a night. That would significantly be different. You'd be now a bench player, a role player, where if you log in 10 minutes, that is insanely different to your conditioning. So you're not as tired. So maybe when you do get those shots, you knock them down. This guy has had a ton of success in this league, so I'm not just going to drill him and say, he's a nobody at this point. But sure, there are concerns. I think it's very fair to say, look, he might not be in his best shape anymore. He might not be the best product of PJ Tucker, but it definitely helps. And I think with the team that he would be playing on, it changes how he would play. All right. Before we take the next phone call, I need to let you guys know about my friends over at DeSimone Jewelers. They are the best in the business. I got my engagement ring there for my fiance, and she lost her damn mind when I opened up the box on one knee. I thought it was because she actually loved me and wanted to spend the rest of her life with me. But no, of course that wasn't the case. It was the shiny bling of the ring that made her collapse and all. But then I got her a Christmas gift the following Christmas, right? Necklace, beautiful, shiny, diamond. But DeSimone Jewelers is a family-owned business with 40 plus years of experience, and they moved from Jewelers Row to Haddonfield, New Jersey. They don't use sale tactics. They just show you options and educate their customers and treat their customers like family. They customize and manufacture every ring they make from start to finish on location. And because of that, they're able to beat all competitor prices. I've sent a ton of family and friends in their direction, and I get the same response every single time. Brodes, they're amazing. They are incredible. They've helped me out so much. And the prices, you can't beat it. And I go, I know. I tried telling you that. So look, if you're going out there and looking to get a nice piece of jewelry for your fiance, for your loved one, family, friend, you name it, you have to go to DeSimone Jewelers, located in Haddonfield, New Jersey. Their phone number, their website, it is in the description. DeSimone Jewelers. Tell them Brodes sent you. All right, let's take the next call.
What's going on, Brodes? Here to talk about the current state of the Sixers going into the All-Star break. But before I get into it, I gotta talk about the Utah Jazz and the state of Utah melting down in front of our eyes. I quite literally have never seen anything like this in my life. A whole state melting down because of the referees. That is straight up unbelievable to me. But back to the Sixers. Who do you not want to see going into the playoffs besides the Nets? I'll talk to you soon, my man.
Who do I not want to see in the playoffs besides the Nets? I really don't know if I'm that afraid of anyone. Now, my instant reaction to that question would be the Milwaukee Bucks. Because if you look at where the standings are, it's pretty much a three-team race up at the top. Brooklyn Nets, Philadelphia, Milwaukee. Those are the three teams that are in the same category. And then there's a bit of a drop-off. The New York Knicks are all the way up there. Miami Heat, Boston Celtics, those teams are hanging around that 500 area. So my answer to you would be Milwaukee, but I think the Sixers can bang with any of those teams. I am the most concerned about a Brooklyn Nets matchup because when I see James Harden, when I see Kyrie Irving, those two ball, it's incredible. And they don't even have Kevin Durant yet. And I do look at them and I do seriously think about what's going to happen when he does get thrown in there? How does that work with the ball movement, with last shots, with late game situations, with crunch time? You have three guys that have that I need the ball mentality, but it does seem like it's clicking and they are finding a groove. My answer would be Milwaukee, but I truly do also think that this Sixers team can bang with them. They've had great stretches. You know what, though? That Milwaukee Bucks team, they've had some hideous moments, too. They have flaws. They're not perfect, and it has not been one of the smoothest transitions. They are a top Eastern Conference team. They're not a perfectly molded Eastern Conference team, though, and I'll take my chances. With the way Joel is playing this season, I will take my chances against any of these squads. But that is an interesting one, and it does seem like you followed up with a part 2 of the phone call.
And by the way, I still don't get all the hype around this Donovan Mitchell guy. This man gets thrown in a prison cell every single time he plays the Sixers. I have not seen the city or a player, just like Ben Simmons, get in one man's head so easily before. It is unreal to me. And I'm still wondering what Rudy Gobert is actually good at in the NBA.
I love it. I love it. That's hysterical. I will take it one piece at a time here. First, with Donovan Mitchell, that's what happens when you have such a star that brings it defensively. And I think we all knew what type of player Ben was on that side of the floor because he's committed, he's dedicated, he has proven that he cares a lot about it. You got to take pride. If you don't take pride there, well, guess what? You're not going to be efficient whatsoever. You need to want it. But he has elevated himself to such a crazy level there. And I think also Joel Embiid, He takes pride in that area, and he is so vocal about wanting it, is he not? We've heard him say so many damn times, and he even brought it up with Rudy Gobert about the Defensive Player of the Year. He wants it. So I think that there's this, I wouldn't be surprised if Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid have a bet on who's going to win that title. And it's a lot of money, too. It's not $5 bet, a $7 bet, or a Chipotle run. There's probably thousands of dollars on the table for who can actually win that job. And that's great. I mean, that's internal competition, friendly, good wagering that brings the best out of each other. When they bring the best out of each other, it helps elevate the team and rise them to this awesome degree in this Eastern Conference. But I think he has really focused in. Like, there are guys like Steph Curry, where their craft is what? Yeah, knocking down those shots, dropping 50 points, and being special. Sensational, game-changing in that aspect where you stretch the floor out so much, you walk over half court, and you're a threat. With Ben Simmons, the pride that Steph Curry, takes in that area, and the pride that some of these other players take offensively, Ben Simmons takes defensively, and I like that. Now, I wish, personally, that he did have more of a motor on the offensive side for it to happen quicker, to happen at a faster pace, but that doesn't mean I'm not happy with the way that he focuses in on that side of the floor, and I tie that to Donovan Mitchell because there's extra motivation out of there with the whole Rookie of the Year stuff, and you even saw them yapping back and forth during an inbound play. There's some heat involved. They don't like each other that much. There's beef. Donovan also took it to Twitter at Joel Embiid too, when Embiid's giving the tease as he's walking up the floor, giving the tease, being the ref as well. It's about the mindset on the floor for Ben, and it just shows how special he is. With Rudy, one-trick pony, really. Hang in there, hang in the paint, and block some shots. We are in a time, and it's always kind of been this way, with Defensive Player of the Years and defensive guys for big men. It's because they're big, so they block a lot of shots, and it's like, oh, well, he's a great Defensive Player of the Year guy because he blocks a lot of shots. But there's so much to it. I think they need to adapt and form more into, it can be position-based. You can be an elite defender, win Defensive Player of the Year, and guard point guards. I don't see why it's only set for these big guys. You might think it's not, but it is. That's why all these big guys win it, because at the end of the day, they got a lot of block shots. Guess what? Miles Turner has a lot of block shots. He can't sniff Joel Embiid's jock strap. So, come on now, right? It's not even close. So block shots, there's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot of things that people do defensively that don't even get on a stat sheet. That isn't even something that you can look at after the game, go to the box score and say, oh, Ben Simmons this. No. It doesn't do it. Doesn't do it justice. So you got to do more of a just block shots type of deal when it comes to Defensive Player of the Year. He's a one-trick pony, and I do believe that he's overhyped, as you kind of alluded to.
I have absolutely no clue how we won that game. I guess defense played such a big role, but how we were able to keep up with them and them threes that they were draining is just beyond my comprehension, bro. It's completely unacceptable. Curry and Green, inconsistency on these threes. We need to bring in some kind of consistent perimeter guy, whether it be Kyle Lowry, Oladipo. I know he's not big on threes, but we got to bring in somebody that could put 20 on the board for us, because these guys lacking in threes, we need to make it up somewhere else. There's no way we're going to be able to keep up with the Jazz or the Lakers or the Clippers or any other team, you know what I mean, that consistently drains threes.
I will agree with you there. That is something that I'm nervous about heading into the playoffs, is this team just doesn't take a lot of threes. They don't. But I do think that this Seth Curry and this Danny Green thing is a little bit blown out of proportion because of the extremes of it all. And I'm with you. I get frustrated. And I like that you brought up Oladipo, and then you even brought up the point that it's not like he's a great three-point shooter. He's not. He's a scorer. He's like a Shake Milton, to be honest with you. He's a better version of Shake Milton. So I'm not saying that I'm anti-Oladipo, but if you're talking about spacing and things of that nature, well, you're not getting that out of Oladipo. He shoots 31% from three right now. And keep in mind, for as great as he is, he started out in Orlando, then he went to OKC, then he was in Indiana, and now he's on Houston. My man in 7 years has been on 4 teams. I like Oladipo. Wouldn't be mad if Oladipo was someone here in Philadelphia and helped out this team. I'm not knocking what he brings to the table, but there's a reason why my man has been on that many teams in that many years. And maybe it is as simple as he has been injured, it was a bad injury, and hasn't been able to bounce back. Sure, but I think if Oladipo's here, you're questioning him, you're upset with him, he's not stellar every night, there's going to be some problems there that doesn't make you happy. Now let's get to Danny Green and Seth Curry. Because, and I'm going to use this monitor only because that monitor over there is a little bit farther away and I won't be able to read the numbers so small. Seth Curry right now is shooting 45% from 3. 45% from 3. Danny Green is shooting 37.6. So, Danny Green should be a little bit better, but last year he shot 36. Now, the year before, 45. But then it was 36, 38, 33. And then prior to that, he's more in his prime, and he was in the 40s consistently, 43, 43, 41, 42. But 37.6%. I would like more out of Danny Green, but my point is, people think it's like the worst thing in the world, and it needs to be better. It does have to take a step. But I also feel that it's overblown. People are bitching and complaining about Seth Curry, who's shooting 45% from 3 right now. There's been bad stretches, and a lot of that is because he shot so well early that when he got into this ugly window and this ugly stretch of his games, it's okay, he's so bad that 62 is now falling to 45, and he hasn't been consistent enough. I'm aware of how it's all been playing out, but I do think it is getting to a point of, and I'm not saying you, the caller, specifically, and I'm talking more of a broad sense and getting the vibe of where this team is and where people are with the Sixers. I do think at times Seth and Danny get a little bit more heat than they deserve because it's like your expectations are too high. With where Danny Green is, I think Danny Green is giving you Danny Green production. I can't demand someone like Danny Green to play like LeBron James, right? Now, he could play better than what he's doing at times. I get that. I do. I get that. But there has to be like a realistic component to this. And where Danny Green is at 33 years old, giving you close to 37%, which is just about league average-ish. I would like more, but he's giving you about league average. That's probably where Danny Green is in his career. So I think expectations need to be maybe altered with some of these players, maybe. I think that's what it is. I don't know. That's the way I see it, at least.
Man. Ooh, that was a good one. They had me in the first half, not gonna lie. I know, first half there, we're down, 10, and kept hovering around 8, 9, 10 points, differential there. And I was just like, no, there's no way the Sixers will come back with these 3 seconds. And then the clutch comes in, and then, the boy, Embiid, with that 3-pointer, tied it up, and I'm like, there's no way. And then, win. Oh man, I'm so happy right now. I'm losing my voice just from screaming.
Oh, trust me, I've been there. It's been a tough couple of days with my voice when it comes to the Sixers and Joel Embiid's big shot for 3. I can't believe the guy has his back to the basket. He falls forward, and he feels like he has to do it because of the time on the clock and the score, but he runs to the 3-point line, and here's Bogdanovich putting his hands up. He's got nothing he can do about it. Nothing at all that he could do about it. Joel Embiid cashes it. It is literally insane. Now, there's 2 ways to kind of look at what you were throwing out there with the 3-point shooting. You could either say, well, they kept keeping it close, but then you allowed Utah to take that lead again. That's annoying. Or you can say the Sixers were hanging in there. You know what I mean? Like, you can look at it from 2 ways. When the Sixers kept crawling back and keeping it around, like they would get it to 3, and then it would get back to 10, and then get to 3, and then get back to 10. You can either look at it as, damn, the Sixers are staying involved. They're staying engaged. 3, 10, they're still into this thing. Or it's, damn, they keep getting it to 3, and they keep allowing the Utah Jazz to get a surge and to take that lead again. I was more in the category of I was proud that somehow, with all the outscoring from deep, they were somewhat in the conversation, right? After the first half, they were outscored 30-3 in three-point shooting. That doesn't happen. What we saw from comeback perspective, this is not a reality. Also, keep in mind, Joel Embiid left at one point of the game. And we were like, oh no, what's going on? And Embiid went back to the locker room. And I didn't think it was anything so serious, but you didn't know, right? Clearly there was discomfort. Maybe it was the ankle, the sore ankle. Maybe it had something to do with the back. Maybe he had to get stretched out a bit, get a little mid-game massage. I don't know. But something was making him feel uncomfortable enough where he had to leave the game, come back, and steal it. Steal it. And over the last 3-4 seasons or so, I was pretty patient, right? And I said, give it time. You can't do this whole process thing and then demand Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid to walk into the NBA and destroy everybody. There's this growing experience. And now when you watch Joel Embiid, and I said, you win when your players are ready to win. Your players are ready to win in Joel Embiid. This is what it looks like. This is what I was talking about. I demanded Joel to grow, and I said, when he does, watch out. He's not ready to win yet. Just like I mentioned with Danny Green, with this expectation thing. The expectation shouldn't be anything insane. With Joel Embiid, the expectation should have been altered earlier in his career, but everyone demanded a championship without recognizing how professional sports works. I said, relax, wait for the guy. You'll know. I even said that specifically. You will know when it's time. This is what that time now starts to look like. This opening window is ready to blossom. This is what it looks like. This is what I was talking about 2, 3, 4 years ago. Everyone wants to look in other directions. Oh, it's Ben. Oh, it's the roster. And yes, there were problems throughout. Yeah, there were issues. Of course there were issues. But the main issue is your stars aren't ready. You might have everything else intact. Maybe you have the right coach. Maybe you have a nice roster. But your players aren't ready to win yet. You're not going anywhere. Problem number one that you needed to get fixed? Time. Now time is ready. Time is now. It's amazing.
Let's fucking get it, bro. Stop fucking playing with us, man. That one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, baby, let's fucking get it. Yo, it's been a minute, man. I've been watching your little Coffee with Bros. I've been in here. But this, I've been a little quiet. I haven't been in the channel as much, but this win is huge. This win is crucial. Staying in first place. Team proving what we got with Tobias Harris. Team proving what we got. I don't even know how Embiid hit that shot at the end. That shot was crazy. Getting Bogdanovich, the jump. And right over top is that. It didn't quite look the prettiest, but when it went in, that splash for that overtime. And then Toby taking over, baby. Taking over. Yo, I'm hyped. The Jazz are easily the top team in the league right now. Easily. And we just beat them in overtime in a thriller and a playoff caliber game and a playoff caliber environment. Let's fucking go, baby.
Wow. Hey, you deserve a round of applause. That's a fantastic call. That's good call, good energy. I loved it. That is amazing. Good for you. I'm a little blown away by that, and I really appreciate it for sure. And I also appreciate the kind words about Coffee with Brodes. And if you don't know about that, you might be living under a rock. 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. Coffee with Brodes live streamed YouTube, Twitter, Twitch at Brodes81 on Twitter. I'm also implementing right now a giveaway. We're giving away Eagle socks every Wednesday. Hump Day giveaway. So much happening on Twitter. Coffee with Brodes, all of it. Go check me out there. That's where you can find a lot of information. Once again, at Brodes81. With everything you said there, that made me smile because it's just terrific to hear people feel that pumped up about it. And it's also funnier to hear it 2 days later, right? At the time, everyone's feeling that way. Now you take a couple days from it, remove yourself, and it's awesome to look back at where we were in that moment. Tobias late is something that is going to be crucial for this team to succeed as time moves forward here when we start talking about playoffs. So I just loved what Tobias Harris did, and he's taking advantage of mismatches, and he's putting his back to the basket, and he's getting very close to the rim. He's getting where he wants to on the floor. You saw that. It was, hey, I want the ball here. I'm going to then enforce my will, get to where I need to make me feel comfortable, and I'm going to execute. And Tobias Harris has been that role player for you for quite some time this season. So I love it. I'm really encouraged by it. That's number one. I'm encouraged by late situation Toby. There are some that might feel skeptical about it because of what you've seen last year and when you've seen the different version of Tobias, but I truly do sense that this is a new identity for the guy. This is something that you haven't seen out of him even in previous Doc Rivers seasons. So if you look at Tobias Harris's stats under Doc Rivers this year, just real quickly, he's shooting 40% from three. It was a little bit higher. That has fallen off a bit. And sure, and that makes sense. 20 points per game. He's given you 15 field goals per game, shooting 51% from the field. That is his highest of his career, which is great, right? His assist numbers, pretty damn high as well. 3.4, best in his career. Rebounds are up there. Not the best in his career, but second best in his career when it comes to total rebounds. Defensively, he's been a different player. Highest blocks in his career with 0.8 blocks per game. Steals, he had 0.9 once in 2017. Now it's 0.8. Just all around a different player. All around a different player, more efficient player, more confident player, and I think this is who he is this year. I don't think that this is just a fluke in a random stretch of games because he's done it enough for me to believe, all right, there is something in there. Amazing. It's the word of the day here. You know what else is awesome? DraftKings. UFC 259 is this weekend and is sure to be action-packed with 3 title fights taking place in one night. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC, is putting you in the center of this weekend's title fight with 100-1 odds on either fighter to land a punch during the title fight. Pick either main event fighter to land a punch during this weekend's UFC 259 bout, and DraftKings Sportsbook will give you 100-1 odds. Bet $1 on either fighter to land a punch, and if that happens, you cash $100. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Brodes when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 if either main event fighter lands a punch on Saturday. Place your bet and watch the fists fly this weekend. That's code Brodes to turn $1 into $100 if either fighter lands a punch. For a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And let's not forget about Orbit Energy and Power. With over 20 years of experience in the solar industry, they are home to your solar experts in residential and commercial projects. Their solar program eliminates your electric bill completely by offering flexible financing solutions such as $0 down. They also provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. So check out their information. It is all down below. I had so much fun today talking about this Sixers squad. Unfortunately, a couple days without them, but we'll see Ben, we'll see Joel in the All-Star game on Sunday, so I'll have my eyes glued to them. Kind of excited for it, so we'll see if there's any talking points that goes down. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you next time.